All righty, everybody. Thanks for joining. We're going to give it just a minute for some people to trickle in. I know we're just at the top of the hour here, so we'll get started within probably 2 minutes, give or take. But appreciate everybody joining here today. In the meantime, if you want to drop in where you're from or where you're dialing in from in the chat, feel free. It's always fun to see where across country people are dialing in from, sometimes across globe. But again, we'll get kicked off here in about 60 seconds to another 2 minutes tops. Feel like I need some Jeopardy music playing while we wait for people to dial in, but I don't have that queued up, and I really don't want to deal with somebody doing a copyright complaint against me for playing Jeopardy music. So we'll keep it silent just for another 60 seconds of me yammering on before we get started.
You could sing if you'd like.
It's something nobody wants to hear. It's because the high side of my voice is here, and then my deep booming bass is here. So I have extreme range in my vocal singing. It's heavy sarcasm. Plus, I'll say this at the start, and then no one's going to be able to unhear it. It would be like Ray Romano singing. I don't think anyone wants to hear that. So now everyone's going to hear Ray Romano presenting to them for the rest of today. Got a bunch of people from North Carolina, New Mexico, California. People are saying love Asheville, great fly fishing out there. Uh, Connecticut, Utah, got a good representation across the US here. Texas, all across the board. We're covering the gamut here. I appreciate people chiming in and sharing where you're from. I know we're about 2 minutes past the hour here. We'll probably get started on this. We are recording, so those of you who are catching this later, thanks for catching the recording. Really appreciate it. Today, we're going to walk through a tandem presentation with ServiceNow and 3CLogic. And the idea behind this is how can we really take the ServiceNow platform and a fantastic telephony partner like 3CLogic and really connect these two together to unify campus services, not just for students, but for staff, faculty, alumni, whoever else it may be across the campus to give them one holistic experience, regardless of channel of choice, to really self-serve, to interact with the university, to get the services that they need across the educational system here. So getting kicked off, I do want to quickly share a non-disclosure and confidentiality side saying if we do make any forward-looking statements, these are based on beliefs and assumptions. Please do not make any purchasing decisions based off of forward-looking statements. Make purchasing decisions based on what's in the product today. And as far as who's going to be presenting, my name is Alex Altos. I'm a senior manager for solution consulting here for public sector. I own all 50 states across the United States, and Tristan Nieves is on my team. He's going to be walking us through some demo here as well. And we also have the affectionately named G from 3CLogic, who is going to be taking us away and showing us some of the magic that 3C brings to the platform to take this to a next level experience for our educational customers. So with that, at the top level, when we start thinking about the educational system, our campuses, our universities out there, there's a ton of different things that people are going to reach out for, whether it's facilities requests, things are leaking, not getting good air conditioning, or we're trying to find announcements. They're trying to get student aid, finding IT support, maybe requesting leave of absence for staff or faculty out there, even just submitting simple student services requests. And the reality that we've seen across most of the universities and colleges that we work with across the globe is a lot of times these are in a lot of different systems and it's being held together by swivel chair, by what I affectionately refer to as human glue, about making things work and getting the right information to the right people at the right time. That's really where we started introducing this idea of a connected campus, using the platform of ServiceNow to engage with the right stakeholders at the right time across the entire ecosystem of education, whether that is students or staff or faculty or alumni or even IT departments or facilities management or more. We can do pretty much anything because what ServiceNow is really known for is driving workflows and automation and taking work, breaking it into consumable chunks, getting it to the right people at the right time on their channel of choice, and driving automation, self-service, deflection, and a better user experience, not just for our end customers, the students, staff, faculty, parents, and alumni, but also for our employees who are actually working to help our students, staff, faculty, and alumni with their questions out there. And all of this is built, whether it's IT service management or HR or sourcing and procurement or customer service and case management or facilities or field service management. All of this is built on the ServiceNow platform. And this platform is inherently layered with a very deep history in AI. It's been part of our platform since we started as a company. And as new technology and AI has rolled out, we've been adopting AI first mentality throughout our entire platform. Now, I know certain institutions that may scare. I know we talk about AI a lot. We talk about it all the time. Some institutions are very forward thinking with AI. Some of them are very uh, tentative or hesitant with AI. The good news is it's entirely your choice. We have options for both, whether you want traditional AI, no AI, generative AI, agentic AI, all of these things are baked into the platform so we can meet you where you're at, extend the value of what you're doing today, and really take it to the next level. And with that, we also tie into a ton of different third-party systems out there. We've got out-of-the-box integrations for things like Databricks, Snowflake, Oracle, SAP, Workday. You'll also know 3CLogic is an out-of-the-box connection here. They were, I believe, and G can keep me honest here, but they were one of, if not the first telephony integration to the ServiceNow platform way back in the day.
That is
Um,
correct.
that is correct. But when we do this, we've even taken this to the next level over the last, couple of years with 3C about what we can do. And I'll blow this up just for a second. We're going to get into this in a real demo here in a moment. But whether it's front-ending conversations via telephony channel and being more of an IVR or an agentic IVR and being able to have conversations with it, have it capture a real-time transcript, generate summaries of the entire conversation automatically so we don't have to disposition that after we hang up. Also doing things like auto redaction of our notes. So if people do give sensitive information in the campus, whether it's social security numbers or credit card information, it's pulling it out. It's not necessarily logging it in there because we're able to configure that auto redaction. And then we're able to take that and use our agentic AI, point it towards the right things, get recommendations, get actionable insights, and drive it to the right people at the right time with the right context without trying to have humans do a bunch of things that technology, frankly, can do very quickly and very cost effectively to bring their service experience to the next level. Now, taking this even a step further, and I promise there's not many more slides here before we get into demo and we just start showing this stuff because I always hate when people come to webinars, and myself included, and they give 50 minutes of PowerPoint and then no demo. So we're going to actually get into some real demo here shortly. But before we do, I need to lay this foundation because whether it is a front door for the platform, and a front door could be websites, self-service portals. These are real examples up on the screen of some of our customers who are using this as self-service portals. But there's also other channels out there, whether it's text, voice, email, self-service portals, virtual agents, so on and so forth. We really want to be able to give that channel of choice to our customers, to our students, to our alumni, and to our staff to make sure that we're not forcing them down a channel. We're meeting them where they're at and providing that next level experience. You're going to see some of that in the demo here today, both with self-service experience, but also with the telephony experience, both with an IVR or an agentic automated voice agent on the backend side, but also how that IVR can tie into real agent conversations as well. So when needed, when it comes to sensitive information, we're getting it to a real person to provide that white glove service in those moments that really matter. And it's technology like ServiceNow and 3CLogic that's going to free up our universities to have that bandwidth to get our people truly focused on those moments that matter. And with that, I talked about workflow, process management, whatever else it is, whether it's a leaky faucet, whether it's an elevator not working, whether we're requesting student leave of absence reports, whether we're getting into financial services or sourcing and procurement or other things. We're driving that workflow, we're driving that process management with holistic auditability, holistic accountability, and holistic automation. And part of what we're going to talk about today, we're not going to go too deep into the actual execution of this work today, is the other side of this, which is facilities management. Whether we're taking care of the buildings, taking care of the dorms, taking care of assets and equipment or anything else that's out there, That is a very deep capability of ServiceNow. We'll lead into this today up to the creation of a work order going out. We're not going to go deep into the fulfillment of the work order. Happy to host another call or webinar. Happy to get on calls should anyone have questions about that. But I think you're going to be pretty impressed with what we're going to see today. At the end of the day, really what we're talking about is one connected campus. And what I mean by that is on the left-hand side, whether it's constituents, consumers, contacts, case, customers, agencies, partners we're working with, or anything else, we need to give them a conversational self-service portal on the front end and different channels to reach out to them too on a single platform, a connected platform. That allows us to drive that to the right people in a unified experience to reduce call center volumes, drive deflection, be able to automate, be able to provide a better mean time to resolution, better first call resolution, and really drive that value and that experience for ultimately our customers, our students. And we can also orchestrate that workflow to the right departments across campus, whether it is student services, whether it is facilities, whether it is alumni services, or project management, or IT, or anything else out there. And we're doing that all on one platform with one code base across everything we do. So you get holistic visibility into everything on the ServiceNow platform at any point in time. And with that, I've talked for about 10 minutes to start this call, if we minus the minute or two from the start. I'm actually going to pass it over to Tristan Nieves to walk us through a little bit of that self-service experience on the front end of the portal. Tristan, you want to steal my screen and take us away?
Sure, yeah. Let me go ahead and take things over. So, hi everyone, just to reintroduce myself, thank you, Alex, for the time. My name is Tristan Nieves. I am actually to report directly up to Alex. I'm a solutions consulting for ServiceNow's CRM and higher education industry. I cover actually all of you as customers of mine, and I actually recognize some of the names as part of the participants. So it's nice to see those who I recognize, and nice to meet those who I have not yet met. Now, hopefully we can all see my screen here with Hudson University. Alex, would you give me some confirmation?
Looking pretty.
Cool. Awesome. Great. We wanted to start here as part of this omni-channel experience for students, for faculty, and for staff with our front service portal, as Alex mentioned earlier. Now, of course, we'll get into a little bit more depth in how 3CLogic and ServiceNow works together and works in tandem to help serve your constituents across campus, to serve any and everyone across your all your different colleges and campuses. But for now, we're going to start here with our friend Marcus Johnson. Now, as part of the ServiceNow experience and as part of the experience as a student with Hudson University, our friend Marcus Johnson has access to a few things in this self-service portal. Here you can browse all kinds of different services from IT support to scheduling advisor appointments to even student organization requests and registrations, all directly here in this portal. And you see, I may have already actually populated up our virtual agent interface. Now, our virtual agent is going to follow our student, our user around as they navigate through this portal and get all kinds of self-service from our knowledge base, from our catalog items and request spaces, and overall community feeling. Now, here he's able to ask all types of questions, and we're going to stick with what we've actually mentioned quite a few times, sort of a maintenance request. He's not really sure where to navigate their services. He has some cases that he's tracking that he submitted earlier, some IT support and other knowledge articles and requests here. But to make things nice and easy for him, he's just going to ask our virtual agent, our Hudson University support here, how he can actually get some help. So let's say, how can I submit a
And as Tristan is submitting this request, I failed as a moderator for this webinar already because I was supposed to tell everybody that if you do have questions and you want to chat or you want more information on things, please feel free to drop that in the chat or in the Q&A section. Myself, Tristan, G, the team, we will do our best to either read those out live, answer them live, or take them at the end of the call as well. We will have some time for Q&A at the end if you want as well. So apologies, Tristan. I just needed to cut in because I was failing on not mentioning that piece prior.
No worries. I should have mentioned it in my monologue as well. So I appreciate that. And again, yeah, please ask questions and engage as much as possible. Now, after asking our question, as our friend Marcus, he's greeted with a summary of a few different things from across the ServiceNow experience. He has access and information and summarized to how to actually submit that request utilizing the service portal, what phone number to call, which we'll get into in G, what phone number to call for emergencies. If there's a bad flood or some large issue going on somewhere on campus, we have a phone number, some hours, and some other information, all again to help support our students or anyone even visiting our campus. They can access and interact with any of our virtual agents and get information nice and easy in a nice summarized fashion. Now he sees exactly actually how to submit some requests like this, our maintenance request. So he's going to go over to his browse services and start to submit for that specific request. You see, we have our German services request and report maintenance issue form readily available for him directly here as a student. Now, as we're filling this out, as I navigate and bring us to this page here, I want to emphasize as we walk through this that all of the platform that we see here, from the portal, from the branding that I sort of made up as part of this webinar for today, is all configurable. So of course, the branding is going to be more fit and tailored to your college and your users and your overall experience that you're providing your students. And that also applies for the forms that we see here. So for example, we're going to continue to fill out our HVAC issue. He's a little bit he's not getting any cooling. I know it's getting hot across every campus at this time in June. So he's reporting some kind of HVAC issue. His room is not cooling off the way he wants it to be. He's going to submit his urgency, provide some building information and other forms and data or fields that he's going to fill out here. Again, I want to emphasize your form does not have to operate in much the same manner that we see here. From the data that we see to the forms and information that he's putting in, we can be really specific or even more generic if you want with what information is taken in from our students or anyone submitting any kind of request, not exclusive even to our facilities management. You can then say, you may see it's not working. And then again, just double down in his detailed description. Now here you can add any further attachments, any further context in regards to what this request is, what kind of help he actually needs. He's going to go ahead and submit for this request and actually minimize his virtual agent. And when he does, it's going to bring him over to a summary page. And it's also going to populate on the front end, just as we saw on that initial landing page where he had advising appointments and other kinds of cases already pre-populated. That's also going to populate in that list as well. But we see here, again, all the information that he submitted, how urgent it is, what building he belongs to, and room number, any description, any attachments, and so on and so forth. Now, this space, this omnichannel experience, now allows Marcus to always come back to this case, always come back to this work that's being done and get all kinds of updates. If he has more context to provide, if he wants to type another message and say, hey, it's getting pretty hot in here, for example, something detailed or something to provide more context for anyone who's going to be entering his building, or maybe he wants to say, I'm actually going to be, off campus for the next week and I can't let anyone in. Whatever context that is necessary for him to be submitting or questions he needs to answer, he can do so directly here in this self-service portal experience. We can always come back to and get all kinds of questions answered and get all kinds of help in regards to all. Now let's see, once this case is submitted, where that actually goes. So once that work order is submitted, I've now switched views over.
Hey, Tristan, I think I might be getting a little bit of audio issues with you dropping there. And I still see your submittal page. All right, it looks like Tristan may have had some internet issues there that happened. So in the meantime, while Tristan rejoins, and he is super quick on that because he has rejoined already, I bought you some time, Tristan. I believe you're back now.
I appreciate that. I am back now. That was a weird hiccup in
This
my
is how
internet.
everybody knows it's a very live webinar with
Yeah.
real demos and everything else, because otherwise we wouldn't have planned that to happen. So
Yeah, definitely not. Okay. I hopefully am back. You can see my screen, Dispatcher Workspace here.
we are good.
Okay, awesome. So as I was saying, our friend Lisa, now our facilities manager, manages our team at Hudson University Technicians. So when any of those requests, either the one that we saw Marcus submit over the service portal or the one that we're going to see G submit here in just a moment, when any request like that comes into our facilities team, it's going to land here in our dispatcher workspace. You'll see she has all different kinds of tasks to be completed, from planned work to plumbing issues to inspections and solar panel maintenance and so on and so forth. All of these tasks are going to belong to her and her team and can be assigned out accordingly to the team that we see here in the middle. Now, this middle here is going to be her calendar view for our dispatcher, where she can see in detail where all of her technicians are, what they're working on, when they're going to be completed, and what else is assigned to them as part of their facilities work. Now we see someone like our friend Teddy Taylor, who has a pretty empty calendar. And we can actually go ahead and assign our airflow task or HVAC or plumbing and leaks and so on directly over to him from this space. There's a few other things I want to talk about before we do that and before we move on over to our friends at 3CLogic. Now, here in the space, again, I'm not going to spend too much time here, but there is a lot that is available to our facilities managers and our dispatchers and anyone working in the facilities space. We have a little bit of a spoiler, as you saw a second ago, our map view and sort of an integration with our with Google Maps, where we can actually populate a map view for a campus. Now, this is a larger view, of course, of the area in which I live down in downtown Manhattan. But of course, we can populate your campus. We can populate different site information and maps to be more specific as to where our work order tasks are actually being completed. So we can see different trends that are going on. We can see where our technicians are in a map view and get that sort of air traffic control view from a calendar and map perspective as our facilities lead. Now closing this out and going back to our schedule, you'll see a few other capabilities here from within our agent experience, things like being able to create and assign crews. We see Desmond and Leslie belong to some crews, as well as Bramer and Wilfred, amongst a plethora of other different capabilities that our dispatchers and teams have available to them. Now, just as Alex said, we could honestly have an entire 2-hour webinar really around facilities management, around how we manage campuses and work orders and the work being done across campus. But I want to make sure I'm saving time and kicking things over to G and team to talk through how 3CLogic can actually integrate super well with the ServiceNow platform as a whole and actually kick off some of these work orders and get them assigned in a unique way outside of just the service portal. So G or Alex, I'm going to kick it back over to you.
Thanks, Tristan. I'm going to avoid sharing my camera just in case I suffer the same internet issues. So let me go ahead and steal the screen here. And I'm going to ask for the same heads up if you can see my screen.
Yes.
You're
All
good.
right, great. Well, so for those, I'll just introduce myself here, Guillaume from 3CLogic. We are a specialized voice AI and contact center platform, really purpose-built for ServiceNow. And Alex and Tristan have really teed it up quite well. Our approach to contact center and voice initiatives has always been predicated on the idea that engagements are only as good as the context and the information available to drive those engagements. And ideally, engagements and interactions with the audience that you serve. And today we're servicing campuses, right? So student, faculty, staff, parents, and so forth are only useful if they lead to an outcome, right? So we view ServiceNow as the primary system of record. We view it as the primary system of action. And on top of that, we have layered a very specific voice and SMS set of capabilities that help create that engagement layer wraparound to ServiceNow. Now, we have a couple quick videos we're going to show you. And the reason we record videos is candidly Zoom and live calls and so forth, bi-directional speakers, all of a sudden you get echoes, it gets a little nasty, right? So we went ahead and recorded some examples. Actually, I myself recorded them using, again, the Marcus Johnson example or persona. But before we show those to you, what I thought would be helpful is to give you an idea of how the mustard's made, right? So here we have on screen ServiceNow. And when we look at 3CLogic, I'm going to look at it through the administrative lens, right? So imagine you're a supervisor of a help desk team. Now that team could be an IT services team. It could be student campus services. It could be Office of the Bursar, any and all the above. And what you have here on screen is the 3CLogic administrative portal where you can manage the teams that field all these calls. And most importantly, because again, much like Tristan and Alex, I could spend hours going on this, going through this. I'm going to focus on very specific components for today's purposes. One of the things that you can build, which is really foundational to any voice engagement platform, you can build your own IVRs, or if you will, your experiential flows. And so I'm going to go into one specific to what we're showcasing today, which is for higher education. So think of this as what we call an interaction manager. And this interaction manager, once it loads up, is effectively a deterministic workflow specialized in routing, in this case, a voice call. right? So this is where you can actually create experiences so that when someone calls in, what is the information that we can fetch, that we can query from ServiceNow that's going to help us determine who the person is, what they might be calling about, and then as a result, determine what would be the proper course of action. Now, I'm not going to go through how to build an interaction flow, but I will draw your attention to a few things. One, which is it has the ability within this designer to basically connect it to a ServiceNow record, whether it's to fetch, read, or write. So any and all information available to us in ServiceNow, in your ServiceNow instance, is available to this environment. So when a call comes in, maybe the only thing we have is your phone number, or perhaps if we have nothing, we might use or request your student ID. All that information allows us to eventually filter down to, is this something that we can self-service using voice AI? Or is it something that needs to be escalated to an individual? And Alex had gone through what that experience looks like, and I'll show that to you live. If a call does get routed to a live human being, what are some of the things that we do to enhance and optimize the experience? What I will draw your attention to is within this deterministic voice workflow, we also have the ability to embed AI agents. So in this case, we have built Laura, and Laura is a specialized campus, agent, if you will. And so when a call comes in, she's basically going to be the individual that's going to front end the conversation and try to understand what is the purpose of the call, what's the context of the conversation, and then from there make a decision on how it should be treated. And those are the two recorded examples that I will show you. But before we sort of allow you to experience Laura, one in a self-service capacity and another where she determines the need to transfer to a live agent, I think it helps to understand how Laura was built. So when you go into a voice AI agent, again, these are non-deterministic experiences. So you have a deterministic foundation, or IVR for lack of a better term, that is built or foundationally reliant on the information in ServiceNow. And within it, you can introduce these non-deterministic agents. And so if I go into an agent, and we'll specifically look for Laura here, which we built for today's example, you of course have different versions. So as you enhance or make changes to Laura, of course, you can revert back. But the way in which you create a voice AI agent, whether it's simply to create a conversational experience as opposed to the more, I would argue, traditional press one, press two, or whether it's to actually allow this agent to perform or help self-service use cases like a student calling about an update on the work order, this is where you would build it. So you would give Laura basically a job description, who she is. So she's a higher education support assistant. What are her primary goals? What's her general behavior? What are some of the things that she's supposed to do and collect? You have guardrails, of course. What are things that she should always do and never do, right? And then you can establish specific personas. What languages or language is she going to be specialized in? How formal or informal, empathetic, unempathetic, concise or chatty she might be. And then, of course, what is she capable of actually doing? So we have this concept of abilities. Abilities, the way we approach them from a 3CLogic standpoint, again, with ServiceNow, sort of that primary system of record. What are some of the informations that the AI agent can fetch, or what are some of the actions that the AI agent can perform? And going to Tristan's example, one of the things that Laura here has the ability to do, depending on the request, is to start or accept and create a work order. And so again, someone could call in rather than wait, which you'll see for yourself. We can create a work order for something that's time sensitive, and that can immediately end up in some of the queues that Tristan showed to be assigned and ideally resolved. And she has, of course, the ability to either fully complete the call in the form of self-service or transfer to a live agent. And you're going to see both examples here in just a minute. The last thing I'll draw your attention to is, of course, when the call does get transferred, what might that look like to the recipient of that call? So I'm going to go and change personas here. I'm going to pretend as if I'm the recipient of a call, and I have an interaction here that is already populated. But what I'll draw your attention to in the video, specifically the second one, they're both quite short, is when a call comes through is all the rich information that comes in. The entire call transcription, when the call is done, the summarization of that call, all this information, rich information, gets posted back into ServiceNow, And it can be leveraged by, to Alex's earlier reference, by the native AI capabilities that ServiceNow brings into picture. So creating resolution notes or creating a knowledge article, but doing it based on the context of the conversation itself, rather than relying perhaps on the inconsistent notes that someone might take. And the other thing that this is going to facilitate, of course, is you're driving a lot of automation for the recipient of the call. So now, any service desk agent, live service desk agent, will have visibility into any voice AI discussions before they're transferred. Any post-call activities are automated. They can move on to the next person rather than being boggled down with some of the administrative tasks. And of course, this has a direct impact in terms of visibility analytics for the service desk lead. And again, we're not getting into the nuances of that today, but these are all some of the value propositions that you immediately start to benefit from as a result of basically allowing a voice platform to be an extension of the foundational capabilities and actionable insights that ServiceNow makes available as part of the Now platform. So with that, I will turn it back over to Alex, but hopefully that context is useful to the audience before we dive into some of those live examples.
Thank you, G. I'm going to reshare my screen here. Please give me a verbal affirmation that you can see it again.
You're good?
Perfect. So I'd be surprised if nobody has questions by the time we're done with this. So again, feel free to put those in chat should you have them as we're going through. But you're about to see, as G said, two different examples, very short. We didn't want to do long videos here in a webinar style presentation, but two very powerful videos of what this can look like for 3CLogic. And at first, you're not going to see a ton of things on screen. You're just going to hear some voice chatting, but then it will automatically generate work orders or transfer it to a live agent. You'll see some magic happen. So with that, let me go ahead and start the first video here.
Hi, I'm Laura, your AI Campus Services Assistant. How can I help you today?
Yeah, hi. I'm one of the students on campus, and we seem to be having a major leak in our dormitory. It looks like a pipe may have burst.
I'm sorry you're dealing with that. Please stay clear of the leak if you can, and avoid any electrical outlets or standing water. What is your full name and student ID?
Yeah, my name is Marcus Johnson, and my student ID is 123ABC.
Thanks, Marcus. What is your dorm address or room location?
Yeah, my dorm address is 130 William Street.
Thanks, Marcus. I've logged your urgent work order for the dorm leak. Your work order number is W00010224. Please stay away from the leak, especially any standing water or electrical outlets. Facilities has been notified, and they'll handle the next steps. If you need anything else, just let me know.
Okay, thanks.
So I know that's a fairly straightforward and simple example, but how absolutely powerful is that when we don't have to have a human involved? We can automatically chat with an agentic voice agent, automatically in ServiceNow create the work orders, the work order tasks, and start dispatching those to the right people without a human ever touching it. It understands how much damage water can do or plumbing leaks can do in short amount of time, understands that that is a P1 critical priority, and automatically creates the work order and puts it into a state to get to a technician as fast as possible. Now, let's go for a slightly more complex one, which is if somebody reaches out and has questions about financial things. That's not something you necessarily want to handle with a pure voice transaction. So let's let that play through quick.
Hi, I'm Laura, your AI Campus Services Assistant. How can I help you today?
Yeah, I'm calling in regards to a notification I received regarding an issue with my son's tuition payment.
I can help with that. Please tell me your son's full name, his student ID, and his date of birth all together.
Yeah, my son's name is Marcus Johnson. His date of birth is March 15th, 2006, and his student ID is 123ABC.
I'm checking your caller details now so I can help with the tuition issue. I've logged this with student accounts for review. Your case number is CS00020301. I can't see the billing details from here, but the team has the information they need and will follow up if more is required. If you'd like, I can also connect you with a live agent.
Yeah, this is somewhat uncomfortable. If I could speak to someone, that'd be great.
I understand. I'm connecting you with a live agent now so you can discuss this directly.
So now, how absolutely powerful is that where we can just have a voice agent transaction or agentic agent IVR on the front end that we don't have to spend a ton of time building out with every single nuance. We can give it some of that natural language prompting that G was showing us a little bit ago. It can ingest, get us our whole transcript of everything on the left-hand side of the page with my son's name is Marcus Johnson. Here's his date of birth. Here's his student ID. Everything that was said populates our short description, our description, automatically kicks it over to a live agent with the live agent getting Marcus's record automatically pulled up for them. And this is all facilitated just because 3CLogic and ServiceNow are meant to work together in this era of driving these next level customer experiences. And G,
Yeah.
are you out there?
Yeah, well, what I would add to that is that was the same agent addressing two completely different use cases, right? So the agent is actually capable of determining, you know what, I can create the work order for you. No need to transfer you. Or in this instance, you know what, I don't have the rights to speak about tuition payments. Let me get you to someone that does, but let me automate the creation of the case, the context. And you can see in the left-hand side as the service desk or cost it, finance agent, whatever their terminology or title might be, as they receive the call, we could very quickly minimize that CTI, the telephony integration on screen. And they could use ServiceNow Now Assist in case it was a longer exchange with the voice AI agent to quickly summarize what is it that you talked about and what is it that I need to now, where am I picking the ball up from? So what you're seeing here is the ability to, one, save an enormous amount of time for both parties, the caller and the recipient. You're also making sure that post-call, the information that a supervisor or management would want to have is now standardized. It is not at the risk of how good are the notes that your service desk take. This also speaks to the fact that I know that on campuses, sometimes students make up the various contact center teams. This also, you can imagine, streamlines the onboarding of those individuals while maintaining a standard level of care for the student, faculty, and staff that they serve. And again, we're only highlighting some of the key points for today's purposes. There's an enormous amount that we could get into. But to Alex's point, the magic is by really allowing two platforms to bring their best of breed capabilities and bring them together. Contact center and CRM type requirements are two sides of the same coin, and they should not be bought or bolted on together independently. It should be a cohesive initiative, and that's what you're seeing here.
And G, I am going to point you to two questions in chat here. I told people to type them. I'm super happy that we got two questions in chat. I'd love you to kind of answer these, and I'll read them out loud for you. The first of which, won't name names here just for privacy reasons on the recording, but first question is, this is really helpful. I love this. Oh, wait, that's not a question. That's just a statement. Thank you, whoever made that statement. But the other question is, can we slow down the pace of which the AI speaks?
Yeah, so when it comes to the different AI agents, again, it's quick and dirty, but when it comes to the personas, there's different voices and avatars, if you will, that you can use. So some will speak faster than others. So that's one aspect, right? You can sort of determine what is the avatar that represents the campus. And again, you could have different avatars representing different service desks across the campus so that there's a clear distinction amongst them. Also in the personas themselves, you can actually, ramp up or ramp down from a personality standpoint, how verbose and so forth they are. And then the prompt itself could be another avenue by which you can also ask them to speak more clearly, or when you read back the case, do so with a pause in between. Of course, as a recipient, I could always say, I didn't catch that case because you read it back to me, right? So that level of engagement and conversational flexibility is natively available, but those are all different ways in which you can configure and refine or fine tune what the experience might look like.
I'll take that to a next level too, just to really paint how powerful this is with 3CLogic. G has talked about different personas doing different things, different dialects, different accents, things like that. Let's take it to a whole nother level and even say different languages as well. I know we showcased that very briefly when G was showing some of the setup on there, but we understand that students may not all have English as their native language, and being able to converse in their native language and have that come in through a conversational interface like this and translate into the right text for those agents working it, getting it to the right people is extremely powerful. So not just speeding up or slowing down the pace, but also doing entirely different language based on the context of the caller who is calling in, which is really cool.
Alex, at Knowledge 26, we had someone come to us asking us if it speaks Japanese. They were from Japan. They themselves only spoke Japanese. And we swapped out the language. I had no idea what it was saying, or I certainly couldn't confirm that it was saying it correctly. But the smile and nodding head, I think, was validation in terms of just how powerful that component is.
Appreciate the context there, G. And one of the things I did want to wrap up with, and again, if everybody does have questions, please drop them in chat. We're showing just a very surface level of what ServiceNow and 3C can do. And we've done this at a number of institutions, maybe not all 250 that I've got on the slide right here, we're partnered with, but a great number of them. We are partnered with 3CLogic, driving these next level experiences for their customers, for their staff, for their alumni. And I think WGU down there at the bottom can sum up some of the power of ServiceNow in the start, which just says, with ServiceNow, we have an enterprise class system that speeds up informed decision making and execution, which at the end of the day is half the battle when we're doing anything, whether it's with students, staff, faculty, or alumni. We need informed decision making so we can speed up the execution and frankly turn every call into a resolution. So with that, this platform really helps us scale student-facing services and support. And with 3CLogic tied onto this, think of if we did not have 3CLogic and their avatar voice capabilities and their agentic voice capabilities, those would have to be real people taking calls somewhere, some way, some shape or form. But this allows us to scale in mass at speed. Laura, as G put it, could be on 50 calls at once with 50 different people, all with just one bot, one agentic bot with Laura. That allows us to really drive and supercharge that productivity with AI to the next level. And again, whether you want generative AI, deterministic AI, we've got options for that. And so if things need to stay very linear and always follow a path, we might use the deterministic workflows that G was showing. If we go and it can be more open-ended, we can still go more agentic or generative on that side. And doing both on the same platform really allows us to drive that efficiency. And frankly, we are absolutely focused on security across everything that we do. It's a huge concern, especially in my business, which is all of public sector, state and local government, education, and more. We've got a lot of three-letter government agencies that are working on our platform here with all sorts of compliance recommendations. Not only do we do that very well, we also have the capability of what's called AI Control Tower, to be a watchdog over all of your AI investments and make sure that we are using them appropriately and scaling them appropriately across our educational institutions out there. So I think we have one more question in chat I saw pop up that said, do you have deployment experience with US Gov School, secure implementation requirements, and CUI plus data? So I'd have to take that offline just a little bit more pointedly because we do work with with some highly regulated institutions. If you're okay with it, I'd highly recommend we might reach out to you after this. We'll take that just offline personally because there are some highly regulated markets that we might be able to give you some insight into in that space. But yes, lots of three-letter agencies, lots of high-reg markets, whether it's education or public sector or federal, state and local, or others. And I appreciate the confirmation on that in chat. G also did drop his contact information in chat there. If anybody has any questions about that, we'll drop ours as well. Alex Altos at ServiceNow.com and Tristan Nieves at ServiceNow.com. Feel free to reach out if you ever do have any questions. We'd love to, frankly, do exactly what this slide says, turn every question into a first-time answer using the platform, using 3CLogic. And if you have questions about this, please reach out to us, schedule a discovery session with us. Let us understand your priorities that are going to really move the needle for you. The hard part for us is we can do so many cool things. We want to focus in on what is going to move the needle for you and what's going to drive the most value for you and your institutions. So reach out to us, schedule those. We'd be more than happy to do that. And we're happy to come in and do deeper dives on any of that. So with that, if there's no further questions, I can release everybody back in and say thank you very, very much to joining our webinar today. If you have further questions, please drop them in chat. I'm going to stop sharing here just for a second and say sincerely thank you for joining this chat. We'll stick around for another couple minutes here just in case anybody does have questions. And if there's no questions that come up over the next minute or two, we'll close it down. I appreciate everybody's time today. Thank you so much. See people starting to drop off there. And now if there's no other questions, it might force me to tell bad dad jokes, and nobody wants that. So feel free to ask away with questions. All right, I'll give it another 20 seconds or so. If we don't see one come in, we'll close it down. And again, following up with some of the people in the chat there, happy to be able to share this. And yes, we will absolutely share this recording out. It will be posted on a number of different channels, whether it's directly with ServiceNow, G and 3CLogic are going to share this as well. They're very close partners of ours. We will make sure to get you a copy of this recording. All righty, everybody, with that, again, thank you to G for partnering with us on this, and 3CLogic, one of our phenomenal partners. They've been around for, it's got to be like 15, 20 years at this point that you guys have been working with ServiceNow. Really appreciate the partnership and really happy with everything we're able to do with our customers together to really drive that next level experience and value. So thanks again.
Likewise, thanks for having me. Tip of the iceberg.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day and appreciate you joining today. Thanks so much.